Hello, everyone. Tonight, we're settling into a story that's like a warm Tim Hortons coffee on a chilly Blue Springs morning. Comforting, but with a bitter edge that lingers. Picture me, Edith Thornberry, 78 years young, sitting in my creaky rocking chair, the kind you'd find in a Muskoka cottage, watching the first light creep over the snow-dusted lawns of Maplewood Avenue. The air smells of frost and the faint sweetness of my neighbor's cedar hedge, and I'm wrapped in a Hudson's Bay blanket, sipping tea from a chipped Blue Jays mug. This is my world. Quiet and small, where every sunrise feels like a gift though. Let's be honest, some days it's more like a participation trophy for surviving my aching joints. So, before you get comfortable, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe, but only if you truly enjoy what I'm doing here. Now, let's slip into my morning, where the past and present collide like a CN train meeting a wayward moose. The kettle whistles, a sharp note that cuts through the stillness of my little house. It's 6, Ma, and Blue Springs is still asleep, except for the occasional jogger braving the January chill in neon Lululemon gear. At 78, I don't sleep much, too many memories rattling around, like loose change in a pocket. My home, a squat bungalow with peeling white siding, has been mine for 40 years. The living room wallpaper, once a proud floral print, has faded to a ghostly beige, and the hardwood floors groan under every step. My late husband, George, always swore he'd refinish them, but a heart attack 8 years ago stole that promise. I still talk to him sometimes, whispering the day's news, as if he's just stepped out to tend his tomato patch. George, I murmur, stirring sugar into my tea. Wesley's late on his bills again. Shocker. This house is a museum of my life. Here's where my kids, Wesley and Thelma, took their first steps, their laughter bouncing off walls now silent. Wesley, 52, runs a car dealership in Barrie, always promising to visit but showing up only when he needs a loan. Thelma, 49, owns a flower shop on Yonge Street, her visits as rare as a Toronto Maple Leaf Stanley Cup win. They grew up in this house, but it's like they've forgotten the woman who raised them. I don't blame them entirely, life's busy, with mortgages and kids and all that noise, but there's a hollowness when your children treat you like a relic, something to dust off for Thanksgiving and then tuck away. Today's Wednesday, which means I'm baking a blueberry pie. Not for me, I can't eat a whole pie, even if I tried. It's for Reed, my grandson, the only one who visits without an agenda. Reed's 20, a lanky University of Guelph student with George's hazel eyes and a clumsy gait that makes my gate squeak. He's studying business, dreaming of opening a craft brewery someday. Grandma, he'll say, your pie's better than anything at the Kitchener market. I smile at the thought, pulling flour from the pantry, the canister cool against my arthritic fingers. As I knead the dough, my mind drifts to a story from last summer, a real one that stings like a paper cut. I was at the Blue Springs Farmers Market, haggling over rhubarb, when I overheard Mrs. Fletcher, my neighbor, chatting with a vendor. Edith's kids never visit, she said, not unkindly. Wesley's too busy selling cars, and Thelma's always got some excuse. The vendor nodded, tossing me a pitying glance. I wanted to march over and say, they're just busy. But deep down, I knew she was right. That moment stuck, like a splinter you can't tweeze out. Back to the pie, the oven's preheating, filling the kitchen with a warm hum. I glance at the clock. Reed's due at 10:00. He's punctual, unlike his dad, who's late for everything except asking for money. Last month, Wesley called, voice slick as a used car salesman. Mom, Cora's car needs new tires. Can you spot me $1,000? I'll pay you back by Christmas. I sent the money, knowing I'd never see it again. 15 years of loans, and not a dime returned. I keep a notebook in my desk, every loan scribbled down 23 dozen and counting. Not that I'm counting for revenge. I just want to remember who my sons become. The gate slams, and I know it's Reed. His footsteps crunch on the icy path, light but uneven, like he's still growing into his 6-foot frame. Grandma, he calls, voice muffled through the door. I smell pie already. I wipe flour on my Roots apron, smiling despite the ache in my chest. Reed's the one bright spot in this family, the only one who sees me as more than a bank or a burden. He bursts in, snowflakes clinging to his toque, and wraps me in a hug that smells of pine and youthful energy. I have to tilt my head back to see his face now. When did he get so tall? School treating you okay? I ask, setting a slice of pie before him. He grins, digging in. Got an A on my marketing project. Professor said I could pitch to a local brewery. I pour his tea, pride swelling. George would have loved that. He always said you had a head for big ideas. Reed's eyes flicker to the old photo of George on the fridge, teaching him to fish at Lake Simcoe. We're quiet for a moment, the kind of silence that holds more than words. Then Reed freezes, fork halfway to his mouth. Grandma, what are you wearing Friday? I blink, puzzled. Friday. What's happening? His face shifts surprise, then confusion. Dad and Mom's 30th anniversary dinner at Willow Creek. Didn't Dad tell you? The room feels colder, like someone cracked a window. Wesley's anniversary. 30 years. And I'm hearing about it from my grandson, not my son. Must have slipped his mind, I say, voice steady, though something inside cracks like thin ice. Reed looks uneasy, picking at his pie. I'm sure he was gonna call, he mumbles. I nod, but my thoughts spiral. Why didn't Wesley invite me? Is it my age? My creaky joints, or something worse? As Reed chatters about his summer plans, a road trip to Algonquin Park, I'm only half listening. The pie's gone cold on my plate, and the tea's bitter now. This morning, Blue Springs felt like home. Now, it's a reminder that even family can leave you out in the cold. Reed's gone now, his Honda's taillights fading down Maplewood Avenue like fireflies in the January dusk. The kitchen's quiet again, just the tick of the old Eaton's clock and the faint hum of the fridge. I'm still at the table, my tea long cold. The blueberry pie's crumbs scattered like tiny apologies. That anniversary dinner, Wesley and Cora's 30th, at Willow Creek of all places, sits in my gut like a bad Tim's donut. Why didn't my own son tell me? I pushed the thought away, but it's stubborn, like a splinter under a nail. Instead, I let my eyes wander this old bungalow. Every crack and creak a chapter of my life. This house, this street, this town, it's all I've known. And yet it feels like I'm becoming a ghost in my own story. I stand, joints protesting, and shuffle to the living room. The air smells of dust and the lavender candle I lit last week, trying to chase away the mustiness. The furniture's the same as it was 30 years ago. A plaid sofa from the Bay, a coffee table George built from reclaimed barnwood, scarred from Wesley's toy cars and Thelma's craft projects. The mantel holds a photo of us at Wasaga Beach, 1985. George grinning, me in a polka dot sundress. The kids building a sandcastle. I touch the frame, glass cool under my fingers, and whisper, you'd know what to say? George, you always did. He's been gone 8 years, but I still expect him to walk through the door, smelling of soil and Old Spice, ready to fix the porch steps he never got to. Those steps creak louder every spring, a reminder of promises unkept. George was a dreamer, always planning new garden beds, a gazebo, a trip to PEI. His heart attack stole those dreams, and I've been carrying them alone since. This house remembers him, though. The backyard apple tree, gnarled and stubborn, still bears fruit he planted. The garage holds his tools, rusted but untouched, like relics in a museum. I used to beg Wesley to clear them out, but he'd just shrug. No time. Mom, work's crazy. Work's always crazy. Yet he finds time for golf at Horseshoe Valley. My kids grew up here, their lives etched into these walls. Wesley's height marks are penciled on the kitchen door frame. From a scrawny 5-year-old to a lanky teen, Thelma's glittery stickers still cling to her bedroom door. Faded but defiant. I can almost hear their laughter. Their fights over the last Nanaimo bar. Their bedtime stories, George reading Anne of Green Gables with a terrible Maritimer accent. But those days are gone, like the Blockbuster on Main Street. Now, Wesley's visits are as rare as a sunny February, and Thelma's always swamped at her flower shop. I get it, life moves fast, like the 401 at rush hour. But when did I become the pit stop they breeze past? I sink into the sofa, the springs groaning like they're as tired as I am. My mind drifts to a real story, one that cuts deeper than I'd like. 2 years ago, at the Blue Springs Legion Hall, they held a seniors potluck. I brought my famous poutine homemade gravy, squeaky curds, the works. Everyone raved. But then I overheard Mrs. Simmons, Thelma's coworker, whispering to a friend, Edith's all alone now. Her kids don't even call. Shame. Really? I stood there, plate in hand, feeling like I'd been slapped. I wanted to shout, they're just busy. But I didn't. I went home, ate leftover poutine, and cried into George's old flannel shirt. That's when I started noticing how little my kids needed me unless it was for cash or a favor. The phone rings, jolting me back. It's probably Wesley. Finally remembering to mention the dinner, I let it go to voicemail, too raw to talk. The machine clicks, but it's not him, just a reminder for my pharmacy pickup. I sigh, rubbing my aching knuckles. At 78, every day's a negotiation with my body. The doctor says it's osteoarthritis, common for my age, but it makes simple things, opening a jam jar, climbing stairs, a test of will. I manage, though, always have. George used to call me the toughest gal in Simcoe County, and I'm not about to prove him wrong. I wander to the window, the streetlights casting a soft glow on the snow. Maplewood Avenue's changed over the years. The old corner store's now a Starbucks, and the kids who played road hockey are long gone, replaced by young families with Teslas and organic grocery deliveries. But some things stay the same. Mrs. Fletcher across the street, still tending her roses, her grandkids' laughter filling her yard every weekend. I envy that. The noise, the chaos. My house is too quiet. like a library after closing. I think about Reed, the one who keeps this place alive. He's coming by tomorrow, too, to help me sort through George's old records, Stompin' Tom Connors. Gordon Lightfoot, the good stuff. He doesn't ask for money or signatures, just my stories and a slice of pie. But even Reed can't fill the gap left by his dad and aunt. Wesley and Thelma, they're my kids, my heart, but they've built lives that don't include me. I taught them to be honest, to value family, yet here I am, uninvited to a milestone I helped make possible. 30 years of their marriage, and I'm an afterthought. The wind picks up outside, rattling the storm windows George installed in '92. I pull the blanket tighter, the wool scratching my chin. Maybe I'm being too hard on them. Maybe Wesley meant to call. Got caught up with work, with Cora's endless committees. Maybe Thelma's just swamped, her shop drowning in Valentine's Day orders. But deep down, I know better. This isn't a one-off. It's a pattern, woven over years. Each missed call and a broken promise, a thread pulling us apart. I head to the kitchen, the floor cold under my slippers. The pie dish sits on the counter, half-eaten, a reminder of Reed's visit and that damn dinner. I grab my notebook from the drawer, the one with Wesley's loans. Flipping through, I see the numbers climb $500 for a work trip, $2,000 for car repairs. I don't write to shame him. I write to remember who I am to him. Not mom. Not really. More like a bank with a pulse. The clock chimes 7. Time to start dinner, maybe just soup? Something simple. As I chop carrots, the knife's rhythm steadying my thoughts. I wonder what George would say about this mess. Edith. He'd probably grin. You're tougher than a northern pike. Don't let him off easy. I smile. But it fades. Tomorrow, I'll call Wesley. I need answers, not excuses. For now, I let the soup simmer, its warmth filling the kitchen, a small comfort in a house full of ghosts. The morning sun's creeping higher now, painting Maplewood Avenue in that soft gold you only get in a Simcoe County winter. I'm back in the kitchen, the air thick with the scent of blueberries and buttery crust, my hands dusted with flour like I've been caught in a tiny snowstorm. The oven's ticking away, warming the room, and I'm rolling out dough for another pie, Reed's favorite. Though I suspect he loves the ritual as much as the taste. My old radio's humming CBC, some folk singer crooning about Lake Ontario, and I sway a little, pretending my joints don't creak like the porch steps George never fixed. It's a good moment, the kind that makes you forget the ache in your heart, until it doesn't. That anniversary dinner, Wesley and Cora's big 30th at Willow Creek, keeps gnawing at me. Why didn't my son invite me? I push the thought down, but it's like trying to shove a curling stone with a broom. I'm slicing berries when the gate clanks, a sharp sound that cuts through the radio's twang. It's Reed, right on time, his boots crunching the snow like he's stomping through a bag of Tostitos. Grandma, he calls, voice bright as a Collingwood ski slope. Smells like heaven out here. I wipe my hands on my Roots apron, the one with a faded moose logo, and smile despite the weight in my chest. Reed's 20, all legs and dreams, with George's hazel eyes and a walk that's half confident, half clumsy, like a newborn moose on ice. He bursts through the door, snowflakes clinging to his Guelph Griffin's toque, and wraps me in a hug that smells of pine and Axe body spray. I'm 5'2" now, shrunk by time, and I have to crane my neck to meet his gaze. When did he get so tall? Sit, I say, nudging him toward the table. The pie's cooling on a rack, its crust golden and flaking, steam curling like a lazy cat. I cut a slice, the knife whispering through the filling, and slide it onto a plate. How's school? Still wrestling with those business spreadsheets. Reed grins, digging in, crumbs falling like confetti. Nailed my last exam. Grandma, got an A. Professor's pitching my brewery idea to a guy in Creemore. I pour his tea red rose, strong like George liked it, pride swelling in my chest. Your granddad would have toasted that with a Molson. He always said you'd outsmart us all. We're quiet for a moment, the kind of silence that feels like a warm blanket. Reed's eyes flicker to the fridge, where a photo of George teaching him to fish at Wasaga Beach hangs, held by a magnet shaped like a maple leaf. I sip my tea, the mug's heat soothing my knuckles, and let myself enjoy this Reed. The pie. The morning. He's the only one who visits just to visit, not for a loan or a signature. Unlike Wesley, who'd rather text than talk. Or Thelma, who's always slammed at her flower shop. Reed shows up. He's my proof this family's not all broken. Then he freezes, fork halfway to his mouth, like he's just remembered a pop quiz. Grandma, what are you wearing Friday? I blink, setting my mug down with a soft clink. Friday. What's happening Friday? His face shifts surprise, then a wince, like he's stepped on a Lego. Dad and Mom's 30th anniversary. Dinner at Willow Creek. Didn't Dad tell you? The words hit like a puck to the chest. Willow Creek. The fanciest spot in Blue Springs, where you go for proposals or big deals, not casual dinners. 30 years of my son's marriage, and I'm hearing about it from my grandson, not Wesley. The kitchen feels colder, the pie's sweetness turning sour in my throat. Must have slipped his mind, I say, voice steady as a CN rail, though inside I'm wobbling like a loony on its edge. Reed looks uncomfortable, picking at his pie with his fork, crumbs piling up like his guilt. I'm sure he was gonna call. You know, Dad always last minute. I nod, but my thoughts are racing faster than a snowmobile on Georgian Bay. Why didn't Wesley tell me? Is it my age, my slow steps, or something uglier? I force a smile, not wanting Reed to feel caught in the middle. Sure, kiddo, probably just busy with the dealership. He relaxes a bit, launching into a story about his summer plans, a road trip to Tobermory with his girlfriend, Audrey. She's obsessed with the shipwrecks up there, he says, eyes bright. I nod, half listening, my mind stuck on that dinner. A real story comes back, one that stings like road salt in a cut. Last Christmas, I hosted dinner here. Like always, turkey, tourtière, the works. Wesley and Cora showed up late. Thelma left early for a work thing. I'd spent days cooking, decorating, even stringing lights on the apple tree. Reed stayed to help clean up. But when I found a card from Thelma on the counter addressed to Edith, not Mom, it felt like a slap. No love, just her name. That's when I knew I was fading from their lives. Like a CBC signal in the sticks. Grandma, you okay? Reed's voice pulls me back. He's watching me, brow furrowed. Pie forgotten. I muster a chuckle, brushing flour off my apron. Just wool gathering. Honey, tell me about this Audrey. He blushes, rambling about her love for library books and indie bands. But I'm only half there. The radio's playing a tragically hip song now, low and mournful, and it matches the ache in my chest. I taught Wesley and Thelma to value family. To be honest, yet here I am, uninvited to a milestone I helped build. 30 years through diaper changes, mortgage payments, and George's funeral, and I'm an afterthought. Reed finishes his pie, stacking his plate in the sink like George used to. Gotta run. Grandma, class at 1. I'll swing by tomorrow, okay? He hugs me, his jacket rustling, and I hold on a second longer than usual. You're a good kid, Reed. He grins, oblivious to the storm he stirred. Love you, Grandma. The door shuts, and the house falls quiet again. The radio's hum, the only sound. I stare at the pie, half gone, and the empty chair where Reed sat. Friday's dinner looms like a storm cloud over Algonquin Park. I need to know why I wasn't invited, why my own son left me out. I pick up the phone, then set it down. Not yet. I'll wait for Wesley to call if he ever does. For now, I clean the kitchen, the sponge's rhythm steadying my heart. But the question lingers. When did I stop being family? The kitchen's dim now, the afternoon sun ducking behind gray clouds that promise more snow over Blue Springs. I'm at the sink, scrubbing the pie dish, the water's warmth easing my knotted fingers. The radio's off, leaving just the hum of the fridge and the occasional creak of this old bungalow settling into its bones. Reed's visit left a warmth in my chest, but that anniversary dinner, Wesley and Cora's 30th, at Willow Creek sits like a stone in my stomach. He didn't invite me, didn't even mention it. And Reed's slip about it feels like a crack in the ice I've been skating on with my son. I rinse the dish, the soap's lavender scent sharp, and try to focus on the task. But my mind's racing like a snowplow on the 400. Why would Wesley leave me out? I'm his mother, not some distant aunt from Saskatoon. The phone rings, shrill as a crow, and I freeze, suds dripping onto the linoleum. The call display flashes Wesley's name, and my heart does a little jig, half hope, half dread. I dry my hands on a tea towel, the one with faded trilliums George bought at a Niagara gift shop, and pick up. Hello, darling, I say, keeping my voice as smooth as a Tim Hortons double-double, though my pulse is anything but calm. Mom, it's me, Wesley says, his tone clipped, like he's calling from the dealership between sales. Just checking in. How are you doing? I lean against the counter, the edge biting into my hip. Oh, fine. Just cleaning up after Reed's visit. How's Cora? There's a pause, a half second too long, like he's flipping through a script. She's, not great. Caught some bug fever. The works. Doctor says she's gotta stay home for a week. His voice is slick, like he's selling me a used Chevy. I nod, though he can't see me, and something cold coils in my chest. That's awful, I say, playing along. Anything I can do? I could drop off some chicken noodle soup. Made a batch last week. No, we're good. He cuts in, too fast, like I've offered to audit his books. We've got everything. Just wanted to let you know about Friday. Cora and I were planning a little anniversary thing, but, we're canceling. She's too sick. The lie's so smooth it could skate on the Rideau Canal. But I hear the strain, the way his voice tightens like a guitar string. I grip the phone, my knuckles whitening. Canceling, I echo, keeping my tone light, like I'm just a sweet old lady who buys his stories. That's a shame. Wesley, 30 years is a big deal. Willow Creek, was it? He coughs, a nervous little sound. Yeah, well, it was gonna be, but, health comes first. We'll reschedule. I'll let you know. I can almost see him, pacing his office, loosening his tie, eyes darting like a kid caught sneaking Timbits. Of course. Darling, I say, syrup sweet. Give Cora my best. Tell her to rest up. He mumbles a goodbye, hanging up before I can add anything else. The line goes dead, and I stand there, the phone's plastic cool against my cheek. The kitchen suddenly too quiet. I set the receiver down, my hands trembling like leaves in a Georgian Bay wind. Wesley's lying. I know it. The way you know a storm's coming before the first snowflake falls. Reed said the dinner was on Friday at Willow Creek. And Wesley's spinning a tale about Cora's mystery illness to keep me away. Why? Am I too old? Too slow? Too much of a reminder that he's not the hotshot he pretends to be? I shuffle to the table, sinking into a chair, the cushion flat from years of use. The pie's crumbs are still there, mocking me, and I sweep them into my palm, the grains rough against my skin. A real story comes back, one that burns like cheap whiskey. Last spring, I needed a ride to the doctor and very routine checkup. Nothing fancy. Wesley promised to take me, said he'd clear his schedule. I waited on the porch, bundled in my parka, watching the street for his Lexus. An hour passed, then two. Finally, he called. Mom, sorry, got tied up with a client. Can you take a cab? I did, spending $60 I didn't have, only to see his car later that day at the Blue Springs golf course, parked beside the clubhouse. He wasn't with a client. He was putting with his buddies, laughing like he hadn't left his mother stranded. I never said anything, just added it to the list of slights I carry, like a backpack full of rocks. I stand, pacing to the window. Outside, Mrs. Fletcher's grandkids are building a snowman, their giggles carrying through the glass. Her daughter visits every week, filling that house with noise and love. I used to have that Wesley and Thelma tearing through the backyard, George chasing them with a hose. Now, my kids are strangers, and this dinner feels like the final nail in a coffin I didn't know was being built. I think of George, how he'd handle this. Edith, he'd say, tossing me that lopsided grin. Don't let him walk over you. You're tougher than a Manitoba winter. I smile, but it fades. Tough or not, being lied to by your own son cuts deep. I grab my notebook from the drawer, the one where I track Wesley's loans. Flipping to a new page, I scribble, Jan 2025. Wesley lies about anniversary dinner. Not alone, but a debt all the same. I don't write it to be petty. I write to keep my bearings, to remind myself I'm not imagining this. The clock ticks toward 5, and I start dinner leftover soup. Maybe some bannock? The pot's simmering, steam curling like a question mark. When I decide I need to talk to Thelma, she's part of this, too, and I want to hear her excuse. I dial her number. The rotary phones click, a small comfort in this mess. It rings, and I brace myself, wondering if she'll lie as smoothly as her brother. The soup bubbles, the house creaks, and I wait, my heart pounding like a drum at a powwow, knowing whatever she says will only deepen the crack between us. The soup's simmering low now, its herby steam curling through the kitchen like a ghost of dinners past. I'm perched at the table, the rotary phone's receiver pressed to my ear, its plastic warm from my grip. Thelma's line is still ringing, each trill a little jab to my nerves, like waiting for the puck to drop at a Leafs game. Outside, Blue Springs is settling into evening, the streetlights buzzing to life, casting a buttery glow on the snowbanks lining Maplewood Avenue. Wesley's lie about canceling the anniversary dinner, his slick excuse about Cora's sudden fever, sits heavy in my chest. And I need to know if Thelma's in on it. My daughter, always rushing, always glancing at her smartwatch, might just spill something to confirm what I'm dreading, that my kids have decided I'm better left out of their lives. Finally, she picks up. Mom, hey, Thelma says, her voice tight, like she's juggling a dozen things at her flower shop. I hear the faint clink of shears and the rustle of tissue paper, probably wrapping roses for some last-minute order. Kinda busy here. Everything okay? I lean back in my chair, the wood creaking under me, and keep my tone as soft as a Muskoka breeze. Oh, just fine. Dear, checking in. Reed was over today. Mentioned Wesley and Cora's 30th anniversary dinner, Friday at Willow Creek. You going? There's a pause, a hitch in her breath, like she's just tripped over a curb. Yeah, I heard about that, she says, too fast. But, it's not happening now. Cora's sick or something. Wesley called it off. My fingers tighten on the phone, the cord twisting like my thoughts. She's parroting Wesley's lie, word for word, and it's as flimsy as a dollar store umbrella. I stir the soup, the spoon clinking against the pot, and keep my voice light, like I'm chatting about the weather. That's what Wesley said. Poor Cora. Fever. He mentioned, you seen her lately? Maybe I should send over some ginger tea. Another pause, longer this time, and I can almost see Thelma's eyes darting, her manicured nails tapping the counter. No, I haven't, she says, a bit shrill. Been swamped at the shop. Valentine's rush coming up. You know. Look, Mom, I gotta go big order for a wedding. Can we talk later? I nod, though she can't see me, my heart sinking like a stone in Lake Simcoe. Sure. Dear, don't work too hard. Give my love to Cora. She mumbles a goodbye. Something about calling tomorrow, and the line clicks dead. I set the phone down, its weight heavier than it should be, and stare at the soup, bubbles popping like tiny lies. Thelma's in on it. She didn't even blink, just echoed Wesley's story about Cora's fake illness. My kids, the ones I raised to tell the truth even when it hurt, are lying to my face to keep me from their celebration. The kitchen feels smaller, the walls closing in like a snowed-in cabin. I ladle soup into a bowl, the steam warming my face. But my appetite's gone. The radio's off, but I swear I hear the faint jingle of a Tim Hortons ad in my head, the kind that plays on repeat during hockey night in Canada. I sink into a chair, the cushion flat as my mood, and let my mind wander to a real story that stings like road rash. Last fall, I invited Thelma for Thanksgiving dinner, just the two of us, hoping to reconnect. I spent days prepping roast turkey, cranberry sauce from scratch, even her favorite maple pecan pie. She promised to come, said she'd close the shop early. I set the table with George's old Blue Jays napkins, waited past 7, then 8. Finally, she texted, "Sorry, Mom, last-minute order. Rain check. Later." I saw her Instagram her at a wine bar in Barrie with friends, laughing, no flowers in sight. I ate alone, the pie's sweetness bitter, and didn't call her out. But it hurt, like a splinter you ignore until it festers. I sipped the soup, its heat doing little to thaw the chill inside. Thelma's always been the busy one, her life a whirlwind of deliveries and deadlines. But busy doesn't explain lying. Wesley's no better, spinning tales about Cora's health to dodge inviting me. I think of George, how he'd handle this. Edith, he'd say, polishing his glasses with that lopsided grin. Call him on their nonsense. You're tougher than a Winnipeg wind. I smile, but it's fleeting. Tough or not, being shut out by your kids feels like standing outside a locked rink, watching everyone else skate. I glance at the notebook on the counter. The one with Wesley's loans, $23,000 and counting, plus that new entry, Jan 2025. Wesley lies about anniversary dinner. I don't grab it, but its presence is enough. A reminder of how my kids see me. A bank, a burden, not a mother. The clock ticks towards 7. The street outside quiet except for a snowplow's distant rumble. I think about Mrs. Fletcher across the street. Her house always full of grandkids. Her daughter dropping by with Timbits and hugs. My house? It's just me, this soup, and a growing suspicion that Friday's dinner isn't canceled at all. I rinse my bowl, the waters gurgle loud in the silence, and decide to dig deeper. Tomorrow, I'll head to the Blue Springs Co-op, where gossip flows faster than maple syrup at a sugar shack. Someone, maybe Doris? Thelma's coworker, will know if this dinner's really off. I dry my hands on the Trillium tea towel, my resolve hardening like ice on a pond. Wesley and Thelma think they can brush me off. But I'm not some old skate they can toss in the garage. I raised them, loved them, gave them everything, my time, my money, my heart. If they're hiding something, I'll find out. Even if it means showing up at Willow Creek uninvited. The wind picks up, rattling the storm windows, and I wrap my cardigan tighter. Its wool scratchy but warm. I head to the living room, the floorboards groaning under my slippers, and pause by George's photo on the mantel. He's grinning, holding a trout at Lake Simcoe, the sun glinting off his glasses. What do I do? George, I whisper, my breath fogging the glass. No answer, but I know he'd tell me to fight for my place, to not let our kids rewrite me out of their story. I nod, my shadow flickering in the lamplight, and head to bed, the weight of tomorrow pressing down like a January snowstorm, cold and unrelenting. Mornings crisp in Blue Springs, the kind of Thursday where the air bites your nose and the snow crunches like kettle chips underfoot. I'm trudging down Maplewood Avenue toward the co-op, my scarf knitted by George during a long-ago Habs game wrapped tight against the chill. The sky's a flat gray, like a rink before the Zambonis pass, and my breath puffs out in little clouds. After Thelma's dodge last night, echoing Wesley's lie about canceling their 30th anniversary dinner, I'm done waiting for answers. The co-op's where gossip flows faster than craft beer at a Guelph taproom. And if anyone knows the truth about Friday's plans at Willow Creek, It'll be Doris Simmons, Thelma's co-worker at the flower shop. My boots squeak on the path, each step firming my resolve, like lacing up skates before a big game. The co-op's a bright oasis, all fluorescent lights and the warm smell of fresh-baked sourdough. I grab a basket, the plastic cold against my arthritic fingers, and weave through aisles of local jams and overpriced kale. Shoppers bustle around me, moms juggling kids, retirees comparing soup cans like it's a chess match. I'm here for milk and eggs, sure, but mostly for intel. Wesley and Thelma think they can snow me with their story about Cora's fake fever, but I'm not some gullible tourist buying a genuine maple syrup scam. I spot Doris near the produce, her silver hair tucked under a Blue Jay's cap, weighing avocados like they're gold nuggets. "Edith, you're out early," she calls, her voice warm as a Tim Hortons hot chocolate. She hugs me, her coat smelling of roses and coffee, and I feel a flicker of comfort. Doris has worked with Thelma for years, her chatter as reliable as CBC's morning news. "Just stretching my legs," I say, tossing a bag of carrots into my basket. "How's the shop? Thelma keeping you busy?" Doris grins, rolling her eyes. "Oh, you know her running around like it's Canada Day. She's off tomorrow night, though. Big family thing. I hear 30 years for Wesley and Cora. Fancy dinner at Willow Creek." My heart skips, like a puck hitting a post. I keep my face neutral, picking up an apple, its skin cool and waxy. Willow Creek. Thought that got canceled. Cora's sick. "Isn't she?" Doris frowns, setting down a zucchini. "Sick. Didn't hear that. Thelma was ordering lilies for the tables yesterday. Said it's a big to-do. You're going, right?" I force a smile, thin as rink ice. "Oh, we'll see. My joints aren't what they used to be." Doris nods, sympathetic, and moves on to potatoes, oblivious to the bomb she's just dropped. The dinner's on. Wesley lied. Thelma lied. My kids are celebrating without me, and I'm the only one who didn't get the memo. I wander to the dairy aisle, the hum of coolers drowning out the store's chatter. But my mind's louder than a Leafs crowd. Thelma ordering lilies, Wesley booking Willow Creek, it's real, and I'm not invited. My basket feels heavier, though it's just milk and a loaf of Dempster's. I think of George, how he'd handle this. "Edith," he'd say, tossing me that grin over a campfire at Algonquin. "Don't let him play you for a fool. Show him you're still in the game." I nod to myself, the milk jug sweating in my hand, and head to the checkout, my resolve hardening like frost on a windshield. A real story bubbles up, one that cuts like a skate blade. 2 summers ago, I organized a family barbecue, hoping to pull us together after George's passing. I spent days marinating ribs, making coleslaw, even borrowing a canopy from Mrs. Fletcher. Wesley promised to bring Cora and Reed. Thelma swore she'd close the shop early. I waited in the backyard, the apple tree heavy with fruit, the air thick with BBQ smoke. By 6, no one showed. Wesley texted about a work emergency. Thelma claimed a delivery mix-up. Reed came, bless him, but alone, saying his parents were tied up. Later, I saw Cora's Facebook, her and Wesley at a winery in Collingwood, toasting with friends. Thelma posted a selfie from a craft fair. I ate ribs alone. Reed's apologies soft in the dusk, and threw out half the food. That betrayal stings now, sharper with this new lie. The cashier, a kid with a nose ring, scans my groceries, her gums snapping like firecrackers. I pay, the debit machines beep loud in my ears, and step back into the cold, my bag swinging against my hip. The walk home is slower, my boots sinking into slush, the wind carrying the faint jingle of a Mr. Softy truck, out of place in January. I think of Reed, how he assumed I was invited, his confusion when I didn't know. He's not part of this deception, but his parents are, and it hurts like a bruise you keep pressing. Wesley and Thelma didn't just forget me. They chose to exclude me, to lie rather than face me. I pass Mrs. Fletcher's house, her grandkid's snow fort glowing under a streetlight. Her daughter's SUV is parked out front, music spilling from an open window. I envy that warmth, that noise. My house waits, dark and quiet, its porch steps creaking as I climb them. Inside, I unpack the groceries, the fridge's light harsh against the dim kitchen. The notebook on the counter calls to me, the one with Wesley's loans and that new entry about his lie. I don't open it, but its weight is enough. A reminder of how my kids see me, a problem to manage, not a mother to love. I sink into a chair, my scarf still on, and stare at the phone. Part of me wants to call Wesley, demand answers, but that's too easy. He'd spin another story, and I'm tired of his used car salesman act. Thelma's no better, her busy excuse as old as the CN Tower. I need proof, something solid, before I decide what to do about Friday. Maybe Reed knows more, he's honest. Like George was, I'll call him later. Ask about this canceled dinner. For now, I heat up leftover soup, The pots clink, a small comfort, and let the steam warm my face. The house creaks, the wind howls, and I feel a spark of something anger, maybe, or defiance. If my kids think they can erase me from their celebration, they're in for a surprise. Edith Thornberry's not out of the game yet, and Willow Creek's about to get interesting. The evening settled over Blue Springs like a quilt, heavy and cold, the kind of January night where the stars hide behind clouds and the wind hums a low, mournful tune. I'm in the living room, curled up on the plaid sofa, a mug of chamomile tea cooling on the coffee table George built. The lamp casts a soft glow, making the faded floral wallpaper look almost cozy. But my thoughts are anything but. Doris's words at the co-op about Thelma ordering lilies for Wesley and Cora's anniversary dinner at Willow Creek burn like a curling iron left on too long. Wesley said the dinner was canceled, Cora too sick to celebrate. Thelma backed him up, her voice as slick as a Bay Street lawyer. But Doris confirmed it's happening, and I'm not invited. My kids are lying to keep me away. And the betrayal stings sharper than a skate to the shin. I pull my Hudson's Bay blanket tighter, its wool scratching my chin, and stare at the phone on the side table. It's an old rotary, the kind you'd see in a Muskoka antique shop. Its black plastic gleaming faintly. I could call Wesley, confront him, but he'd just spin another tale, and I'm not in the mood for his car salesman charm. Thelma's no better. Her busy act as tired as a rerun of Corner Gas. I need someone who'll tell it straight. And that's Reed. My grandson's honest. Like George was. His heart too big to play these games. He's the one who let slip about the dinner. Maybe he knows more without realizing it. I reach for the phone. The dials click loud in the quiet, and punch in his number, my heart thumping like a drum at a powwow. Reed picks up on the third ring, his voice bright despite the late hour. Grandma. Hey, what's up? You find that pie recipe I asked for? I smile, picturing him in his Guelph dorm, probably surrounded by empty coffee crisp wrappers and business textbooks. Not yet, honey, I say, keeping my tone soft. Like I'm tucking him in, just checking in. You mentioned that anniversary dinner Friday. Wesley and Cora's big 30th. I got confused earlier. Your dad said it's canceled, right? Cora's sick. There's a pause, a rustle like he's shifting on his bed, and then he sounds puzzled. Canceled. No way. Dad called me an hour ago. Asked if I could be at Willow Creek by 7. Said it's still on. Big party. The works. Nobody's sick. The room tilts, like I've stepped on black ice. I grip the phone, my knuckles aching, and swallow hard. 7. You say? At Willow Creek. My voice is calm, but inside I'm raging. A storm brewing over Lake Simcoe. Reed hesitates, sensing something's off. Yeah, Grandma, I thought you knew. Dad said you were coming. Just maybe running late or something? You okay? I force a chuckle, thin as rink slush. Oh, I'm fine, sweetheart. Just getting old, mixing things up. You know how it is. He laughs, relieved, and starts rambling about his brewery project. But I'm barely listening. Wesley lied to my face, told me the dinner was off, and now he's lying to Reed, saying I'm invited. Thelma's in on it. 2, feeding me the same fake story. My kids are cutting me out, and they think I'm too old to notice. I wrap up the call, promising Reed I'll dig up that pie recipe, and set the phone down. It's click final, like a door slamming. The tea's cold now, its floral scent faint, and I push it aside, my hands trembling like leaves in a Collingwood wind. I think of George, how he'd react. Edith, he'd say, tossing a log on the fire at our old cabin. Don't let him treat you like yesterday's news. You're the headline. Always will be. I nod, my shadow flickering on the wall, but the hurt runs deep, like a crack in a frozen pond. A real story comes back, one that cuts like a paper cut. Last winter, I had a mild scare chest pain, nothing major, but the doctor sent me to Barrie for tests. I called Thelma, hoping she'd come with me, just to hold my hand. She said she was swamped at the shop, promised to check in later. Wesley was too busy with a car show. I went alone, the hospital's fluorescent lights harsh, the waiting room smelling of bleach and fear. Reed showed up, skipping class, and sat with me all day, sneaking me Timbits when the nurse wasn't looking. My kids didn't call, didn't visit, but posted on Instagram Wesley at a client dinner, Thelma at a floral expo. I never told them how much it hurt, but I added it to the list of slights I carry, like a knapsack full of pucks. I stand, the floorboards groaning, and pace to the window. Outside, Maplewood Avenue's asleep, the snow glowing under streetlights. Mrs. Fletcher's house dark but warm with family. My house feels like a museum, full of relics but no life. I think of the notebook in the kitchen, where I've written Jan 2025 Wesley lies about anniversary dinner, and Thelma backs him up. I don't need to add. Reed's call, it's burned into me now. My kids are celebrating 30 years of a marriage I helped nurture, and I'm not wanted. It's not just about Friday, it's years of being sidelined. My role as mother reduced to a signature on a check. I head to the kitchen, the air still holding the ghost of blueberry pie, and start washing the mug, the water's heat grounding me. My mind's made up. I'm going to Willow Creek, not to beg for a seat, but to see for myself, to look my kids in the eye and ask why. I'm not some old stick they can toss in the shed. I'm Edith Thornberry, the woman who raised them, who loved them through every scraped knee and broken dream. I dry the mug, the tea towel soft as a whisper, and glance at George's photo on the fridge, his grin daring me to fight. Tomorrow, I'll pick out a dress, maybe the navy one from Thelma's wedding, and call a cab. The wind rattles the windows, a low moan, and I feel a spark defiance, maybe, or just stubborn pride. Whatever it is, it's enough to carry me to Friday, where my kids will learn I'm not so easy to erase. The Thursday night chill has settled over Blue Springs, wrapping Maplewood Avenue in a quiet so deep you can hear the snowflakes kiss the ground. I'm in my bedroom, the air smelling of lavender from a sachet tucked in my dresser, the kind George used to tease me about. Edith, you trying to turn this place into a spa? The single bulb in my thrift store lamp casts a warm glow, making the faded quilt on my bed look almost vibrant. Reed's call last night was the final puck in the net. Wesley's anniversary dinner at Willow Creek is happening. No cancellation. No sick Cora, just a lie to keep me away. Thelma's in on it. Too, her voice as slippery as a wet rink. My kids think they can erase me from their milestone, but they're about to learn. I'm not some old jersey they can stuff in a drawer. I'm going to that dinner, uninvited, to look them in the eye and ask why. Tonight, I'm preparing, and the thoughts got my heart racing like a snowmobile on full throttle. I stand before my closet, the door creaking like it's protesting the disturbance. My wardrobe's a time capsule, sweaters from Zellers, dresses from Eaton's long-gone catalogs. I pull out the navy dress I wore to Thelma's wedding 20 years ago. It's silk cool against my fingers, the hem still crisp despite my shrinking frame. I hold it up to the mirror, the glass speckled with age, and try it on. It fits, looser now, but the deep blue brings out the gray in my eyes. Like Lake Simcoe under a winter sky, I smooth the fabric, my hands trembling not from arthritis, but from the weight of what I'm planning. Showing up at Willow Creek isn't just about crashing a party. It's about reclaiming my place in a family that's pushed me to the sidelines. I dig out my low-heeled pumps, scuffed but polished, and the pearl necklace George gave me for our 25th anniversary. Its clasp stiff but secure. The pearls are cool against my collarbone, and I catch my reflection 78, lined with years, but standing tall, not bad. Edith, I murmur, channeling George's grin. You've still got it. The thought of walking into that fancy restaurant, where a glass of wine costs more than my weekly groceries, makes my stomach flip like a flapjack at a sugar shack. But I'm not backing down. Wesley and Thelma's lies about Cora's fever, about the canceled dinner are a slap I won't ignore. A real story bubbles up, one that hardens my resolve. 3 years ago, I turned 75, a milestone I wanted to celebrate with family. I booked a private room at a diner in Barrie. Nothing fancy, just poutine and burgers. My treat. I invited Wesley, Cora, Thelma, her husband, and Reed, dreaming of a night full of laughter. Like our old Christmas dinners. I spent days planning, even baked a Black Forest cake from scratch. The night came, and I sat there, watching the door, the diner's jukebox playing Stompin' Tom. Reed showed up, bless him, with a handmade card. Thelma sent a text, stuck at the shop. Sorry. Wesley called an hour in, saying Cora had a migraine. I ate fries with Reed, the cake untouched, and drove home alone, the highway lights blurring through tears. Later, I saw Cora's Facebook her at a charity gala. All smiles. Wesley was there, too. They didn't forget, they chose to skip it. That hurts back now, fueling me like a double espresso. I sit on the bed, the springs squeaking, and plan logistics. Willow Creek's on the edge of town, a red brick beauty by the river, the kind of place where Blue Springs elite toast deals over $50 steaks. I'll need a cab. My old Corolla's not up for night drives, and the buses stop early. I jot down the number for Simcoe cabs, the paper crinkling under my pen, and check my wallet. $20, enough for the ride, but I'll need to hit the ATM tomorrow. The thought of walking into that glitzy hall, past waiters in bow ties, makes me feel like a fish out of water, but I'm not here to blend in. I want answers, not applause. I wander to the living room, the floorboards groaning under my slippers, and pause by George's photo on the mantel. He's at Wasaga Beach, holding a trout, his grin wide as the horizon. What do you think? George, I whisper, my breath fogging the glass. Am I crazy for this? I can almost hear him, chuckling over a campfire. Crazy's not showing up. Edith, you're tougher than a northern pike. I nod, my shadow swaying in the lamplight, and feel a spark defiance, maybe, or just stubborn pride. I'm not crashing Willow Creek to make a scene. I'm going to remind my kids who I am, the woman who raised them through fevers and fights, who loved them even when they stopped loving me back. The wind howls outside, rattling the storm windows, and I wrap my cardigan tighter. Its wool soft but worn. I think of Reed, how he'll react when I show up. He's not part of this lie, but he'll be there, probably in his one good suit, chatting with Audrey about shipwrecks or indie bands. I don't want to embarrass him, but I need him to see this, to know his grandma's not invisible. Wesley and Thelma, they'll squirm, their polished lies cracking like thin ice. Cora, too, playing the sick card while sipping Chardonnay. I'm not angry, not exactly. It's more like grief, mixed with a fire I haven't felt in years. I head to the kitchen, the air still holding a hint of blueberry pie, and make a cup of tea. Red rose, strong like George liked it. The kettle's whistle is a soft comfort, and I sip slowly, the mug's heat easing my knuckles. Tomorrow, I'll call the cab, maybe stop by the co-op for a small gift, a bottle of Niagara wine, something to set on their table, a quiet jab at their secrecy. The clock ticks toward 9, the house creaking like it's cheering me on. I'm Edith Thornberry, 78. Not done yet. Friday's coming, and Willow Creek's about to meet a mother who's tired of being forgotten, her heart steady as a drum, ready to face the family that tried to leave her behind. The Friday evening sky over Blue Springs is a bruise of purple and gray, the kind of January dusk that makes you crave a fireplace and a stiff drink. I'm in the back of a Simcoe cab, the heater blasting a mix of stale coffee and pine air freshener, my navy dress smoothed over my knees, the pearl necklace cool against my throat. The driver, a kid with a Raptors cap and a vape habit, glances at me in the rearview. Willow Creek. Big night. Grandma. I smile, thin as rink ice. Something like that. And I'm not your grandma. He shrugs, cranking the radio some Drake song that's all bass and mumble, and I let the city blur past. The lights of downtown flickering like stars over Georgian Bay. I'm heading to Wesley and Cora's 30th anniversary dinner, uninvited, armed with nothing but a bottle of Niagara Riesling from the co-op, and a heart full of questions. My kids lied to keep me away, and I'm done being the ghost at their feast. Willow Creek sits on the river's edge, a red brick beauty with ivy climbing its walls, the kind of place where Blue Springs bigwigs toast deals over lobster and $200 wine. The cab pulls up a block away, as I asked, and I pay the kid $15 plus a loony tip before stepping into the cold. My pumps crunch on the salted path, my breath puffing like a steam engine. I don't head straight for the entrance. Instead, I skirt the parking lot, the river's murmur mixing with the hum of luxury cars. There they are. Wesley's silver Lexus, Thelma's red Ford, Reed's beat-up Honda with a Guelph sticker. My family's here, celebrating 30 years of a marriage I helped build, and I'm the only one left out. The realization hits like a puck to the chest, sharp and cold. I creep toward the restaurant's side, staying in the shadows of snow-dusted cedars, my coat brushing their needles. The windows glow gold, but the curtains are drawn tight, except for one gap where a velvet panel sags. I peer through, my breath fogging the glass. And there they are, my family, at a round table in the main hall, lit by crystal chandeliers. Wesley's at the head, in a suit I've never seen, all swagger and charm. Cora's beside him, in a burgundy dress, laughing, no trace of the fever Wesley swore she had. Thelma's there, her hair swept up, clinking glasses with her husband, Reed and his girlfriend, Audrey. Sit close. His tie loose, her red hair catching the light. Plates of seafood and prime rib clutter the table. Bottles of Okanagan Valley wine glinting like trophies. They're laughing, toasting, happy without me. My fingers tighten on the wine bottle, its label damp from my grip. I'm not surprised. Not really. But seeing it hurts like stepping on a rusty nail. They didn't just forget me. They chose to exclude me, to lie about Cora's health so I'd stay home, knitting or watching Murdoch mysteries like some irrelevant old bat. I think of George, how he'd react. Edith, he'd say, tossing a log on the fire at our old cabin. They're acting like fools. Show 'em you're the MVP. I nod, my shadow blending with the cedars, but my throat's tight, like I've swallowed a Timbits whole. A real story comes back, one that burns like cheap rye. Last Mother's Day, I hoped for a family brunch. Nothing fancy, maybe at the diner on Main. I dropped hints to Wesley and Thelma for weeks, even bought a new blouse from Reitman's. The day came, and I waited, the phone silent, my table set with George's old Blue Jays mugs. Reed called, apologizing he was stuck at school but sent a digital card. Wesley texted at noon, Happy Mother's Day. Mom, crazy busy. Let's do dinner soon. Thelma sent a bouquet from her shop, but it was one of her assistant's work, not hers. I ate alone, reheating leftover tourtière, and saw their social media later. Wesley golfing, Thelma at a market fair. They didn't forget. They chose their own plans. That loneliness is back now, raw and heavy. As I watch them celebrate without me, I step back, the snow muffling my steps, and wipe the fog from the window. Inside, a waiter brings a massive cake, candles flickering, and the table erupts in applause. Wesley puts an arm around Cora, their smiles wide. Thelma snapping photos with her phone. Reed looks around, like he's searching for someone, then leans to Audrey, whispering. My heart twists. Does he know I'm not here? I want to barge in, demand answers. But that's too easy, too loud. I need to do this right. To walk in with dignity, not desperation. I'm Edith Thornberry, the woman who raised these kids, who loved them through every fever and failure. I deserve a seat at that table, whether they like it or not. I circle to the entrance, the wine bottle tucked under my arm, its weight grounding me. The doorman, a young guy in a crisp vest, eyes me curiously. Evening, ma'am. Reservation. I square my shoulders, the pearls glinting under the awning's light. I'm here for the Thornberry party. Wesley's my son. He checks his tablet, frowning, but I don't flinch. They're in the main hall, he says, stepping aside. Enjoy your evening. I nod, my pumps clicking on the polished floor, and pause at the lobby's edge. The hum of chatter, the clink of glasses, the scent of roasted garlic, it's all so alive, so unlike my quiet house. My heart's pounding like a drum at a powwow, but I'm not backing down. I think of George's photo on my mantle, his grin daring me to fight. You've got this, Edith, I whisper, my breath steadying. The main hall doors loom ahead, oak and heavy, the sounds of my family's laughter seeping through. I'm not here to ruin their night, but to remind them who I am, a mother, not a memory. The wine bottle's label crinkles as I adjust my grip, a small jab at their secrecy. The wind howls outside, the river's murmur faint, and I feel a spark defiance, pride, maybe both. I take a deep breath, my shadow sharp in the chandelier's glow, and reach for the door, ready to face the family that thought they could leave me behind. The Willow Creek lobby is a warm cocoon of polished wood and soft jazz, the kind of place that makes you feel underdressed even in your Sunday best. I'm standing just inside, clutching the bottle of Niagara Riesling like it's a lifeline, my navy dress catching the chandelier's glow. The air smells of rosemary and money, and the hum of laughter from the main hall. My family's laughter cuts deeper than a January wind off Lake Simcoe. I've seen them through the window, toasting Wesley and Cora's 30th anniversary, their table a glittering island of seafood and Okanagan wine, with no seat for me. They lied, said the dinner was canceled. Cora sick, but here they are, celebrating without their mother. I'm ready to walk in, to face them, but my feet feel frozen, like I'm stuck in a snowbank on the 400. Then a voice, smooth as a double-double, breaks through. Edith Thornberry. As I live and breathe, I turn, and there's Lewis Quinlan, Blue Spring's own legend, striding toward me. He's in his 60s, tall and silver-haired, his tailored suit sharp enough to cut glass, a gold willow pin glinting on his lapel. Lewis owns Willow Creek, turned it from a greasy spoon into the town's crown jewel. But to me, he's still the gangly kid from across the street, sneaking my blueberry pies when his mom wasn't looking. His gray eyes crinkle, warm and knowing. You haven't changed a bit, he says, bowing slightly, like I'm royalty, not a 78-year-old widow in a second-hand dress. I manage a smile, the Riesling bottle sweaty in my grip. Liar, Lewis. Time's been kinder to you, he chuckles, the sound low and comforting, like a campfire's crackle. Navy's always been your color, Edith. Here for the Thornberry party. My throat tightens, and I hesitate. I could lie, say I'm just dropping off the wine, but Lewis's gaze is too sharp, like he's reading the fine print on my heart. They didn't invite me, I admit, my voice barely above a whisper. Wesley said it was canceled. Cora's sick. Found out from Reed it's on. I had to see for myself. His face shifts, indignation flashing like lightning over Algonquin Park. That's unacceptable, he says, his tone firm but kind, like a teacher catching a bully. Your son's celebrating 30 years, and you're not at the table, not in my restaurant. I blink, caught off guard by his anger, and feel a rush of gratitude, like finding a warm cafe after a snowstorm. Lewis, I don't want to make a scene, I say, adjusting my pearls. I just want answers. He offers his arm, his sleeve crisp against my fingers. Then let's get them. Edith, the mother of the guest of honor, doesn't stand in the lobby. A real story comes back, one that grounds me. 5 years ago, after George's funeral, I was drowning in grief and paperwork. Wesley and Thelma were too busy to help, but Lewis showed up at my door with a lasagna and a bottle of Inniskillen. He sat with me, sorting hospital bills and insurance forms, his quiet presence a lifeline. Your family, Edith, he said, slicing the lasagna. It's cheese, stringy and warm. Always will be. I never forgot that kindness. And now, as he leads me toward the main hall doors, I feel that same strength. Like a skate blade finding its edge. The doors loom, oak and heavy, the muffled clink of glasses and laughter seeping through. My heart's pounding like a drum at a powwow. But Lewis's arm is steady, his cologne a faint cedar note. How do you want to play this? He asks, pausing. Grand entrance or quiet arrival. I think of bursting in, letting their lies shatter like dropped crystal. But that's not me. Quiet, I say, my voice soft but sure, like I was always meant to be here. He nods, approval in his eyes, elegance over drama. Perfect choice. He pushes the door open, and we step into the hall, the air warm with the scent of roasted garlic and candle wax. The room's a vision white roses and lilies in tall vases, garlands draping the walls like a Muskoka wedding. Chandeliers cast a golden glow, reflecting off silverware and wine glasses. My family's table is center stage, round and lavish, a cake with flickering candles waiting like a promise. Wesley's mid-toast, his voice booming about love and family, Cora beaming beside him. Thelma snapping photos, Reed and Audrey whispering, oblivious to me. Then Reed spots us, his eyes widening like he's seen a ghost. Audrey nudges him, her red hair catching the light, and Thelma freezes, her glass halfway to her lips. One by one, they notice their faces shifting surprise, guilt, fear. Wesley's still talking, clueless, until Cora's hand on his arm stops him cold. Lewis leads me forward, his steps measured, like we're gliding across a rink. The other guests, Blue Springs elite, in suits and sequins glance our way, their murmurs fading. I feel their eyes, but I'm focused on my family, their table a fortress I'm about to breach. Lewis stops beside it, his voice cutting through the silence. Polite but edged like a skate. Mr. Thornberry, apologies for the interruption. It seems your mother was delayed. I've taken the liberty of escorting her to your table. He pulls out a chair between Reed and a stranger, probably one of Cora's friends. And I sit, the Riesling bottle clinking softly as I set it down. The silence is thick, like fog over Georgian Bay. Wesley's face is white as a snowbank, his tie suddenly too tight. Mom, he stammers. You said you were staying home? I meet his eyes, calm as a frozen pond. Change my mind. Darling, 30 years is worth celebrating, don't you think? Cora fidgets with her napkin. Thelma stares at her plate, and Reed leans closer, whispering, Grandma, I didn't know. I pat his hand, my pearls glinting. I know, honey. Lewis lingers a moment, his presence a shield, then nods. I'll have another place setting brought. Enjoy. Edith. He steps away, leaving me at the table, the air crackling with unspoken truths. I think of George, his photo on my mantle, daring me to stand tall. You're doing it, Edith, I hear him say, his voice warm as a campfire. The waiter arrives with a plate, the clink of cutlery loud in the tension. My family's watching, waiting for me to explode. But I'm not here for a scene. I'm here to remind them who I am, a mother, not a memory. The cake's candles flicker, the wine bottle sits like a challenge, and I feel a spark, steady and sure, ready to face whatever comes next. The Willow Creek dining hall feels like a stage, all crystal chandeliers and floral garlands, the air thick with the scent of roasted lamb and Okanagan Pinot Noir. I'm seated at my family's table, the Niagara Riesling I brought glinting like a quiet accusation in the candlelight. My navy dress is smooth against my skin, my pearls cool at my throat, but my heart's steady, like a drum at a powwow, as I face Wesley, Cora, Thelma, and their guests. Reed's beside me, his hand brushing mine under the table, his eyes wide with worry. The silence is heavy, like snow piling up on a Blue Springs roof. After Lewis Quinlan's smooth introduction left my kids scrambling. They lied Cora's not sick. The dinner's not canceled and I'm here, uninvited, to call them on it. Not with shouts, but with the kind of quiet truth that cuts deeper than a skate blade. Wesley clears his throat, his face pale as a January snowbank, his new suit looking too tight now. Mom, what a surprise, he says, his voice as forced as a car salesman's grin. We thought you weren't feeling up to it. I tilt my head, my smile soft but sharp, like a well-aimed curling stone. Funny, that you told me Cora was down with a fever, dinner off. Yet here we are, celebrating 30 years. I nod at Cora, who's fiddling with her burgundy dress, her cheeks flushed despite no sign of illness. You look awfully healthy. Dear, a miracle. The table's silent. The clink of a distant glass the only sound, like a puck hitting the boards. Cora mumbles. Felt better by noon. Didn't want to worry you. Her eyes dart to Wesley, who's staring at his plate like it holds the answer to world peace. Thelma sets her wine glass down, too hard, the red sloshing like a warning. Mom, maybe this isn't the place, she says, her voice tight as a Toronto traffic jam. I raise an eyebrow, sipping the water a waiter's just poured, its chill grounding me. Not the place. I think a family celebration is exactly the place to discuss family. Thelma, especially when I wasn't invited, Reed shifts, whispering, Grandma, I swear I thought you knew. I pat his hand, my voice low, soothing like a CBC bedtime story. I know. Honey, this isn't on you. The other guests, some of Cora's friends. A couple I don't recognize look uncomfortable. Their forks paused over prime rib. I lean back, the chair's velvet soft against my spine, and let the moment stretch. Wesley, you said Cora was sick, needed a week in bed. Thelma, you backed him up. But Doris at the co-op mentioned lilies for this very table. And Reed here got a call from you. Wes, confirming 7 o'clock. So, tell me, when did you decide your mother wasn't welcome? Wesley's cufflink glints as he fidgets, his eyes avoiding mine like I'm a ref calling a penalty. Mom, it's not like that. We just thought it'd be too much for you. Late night, loud crowd. I nod, slow, like I'm savoring a Tim Hortons double-double. Too much for me. Interesting. Was it too much when I hosted your Christmas dinners all those years, cooking for 20 while you kids played shinny in the backyard? Or when I stayed up nights helping you with tax forms? Wes, while you were too busy at the dealership. Thelma flinches, her earrings catching the light. And I turn to her. Or you, dear, did I seem too frail when I watched your shop, so you could jet off to Niagara for a weekend? A real story surfaces, one that burns like road salt on a cut. 2 years ago, I needed help fixing a leak in my roof water dripping into buckets, ruining George's old books. I called Wesley, thinking he'd pitch in, maybe bring Reed to help. Mom, we're strapped, he said. Cora's car broke down, and Reed's tuition's due. I didn't push, hired a handyman, and drained my savings. A month later, I saw his Instagram, him and Cora at a Blue Jays game. Box seats, grinning over craft beers. Thelma didn't help either. Too swamped with orders. Reed offered to paint the repaired ceiling. But my kids, they were nowhere. That memory fuels me now. As I sit here, their lies laid bare like a rink after a game. Cora tries to speak, her voice wobbly. Edith, we didn't mean to hurt you. We just thought I raise a hand. Gentle but firm, like stopping a kid from running onto the ice. Don't. Cora, you didn't think about me at all. You lied, all of you, instead of saying, Mom, we don't want you here. Honesty's hard, I know, but I taught you better. The table's quiet, the cake's candles flickering out, wax pooling like my disappointment. A waiter hovers, unsure, and I nod at the Riesling. Could you open this? Seems a shame to waste good wine. He scurries off, and I turn to Wesley, my voice calm as a frozen lake. 30 years is a milestone. I was there when you met Cora. Wes, when you were too nervous to ask her out, I deserved to be here, not pushed aside like an old skate. Thelma's eyes are shiny, but she doesn't speak. Wesley tries again, his tone pleading, like he's pitching a lemon at his dealership. Mom, let's talk later. Okay, not here, with everyone watching. I smile, my pearls glinting. Why not here? This is a family party, isn't it? Or am I not family anymore? The question hangs, heavy as a Simcoe County snow. Reed squeezes my hand under the table. And Audrey, his girlfriend, looks like she wants to sink through the floor. The other guests pretend to eat, their forks scraping awkwardly. I'm not yelling, not crying, just stating facts. My voice soft but steady, like a campfire's glow. I think of George, his photo on my mantle, his grin daring me to stand tall. You're doing it, Edith, I hear him say, his voice warm as a Muskoka sunset. I don't need to raise my voice to make them feel this. The truth's enough, sharp as a skate's edge. The waiter returns, pouring the Riesling, its crisp scent cutting through the tension. I lift my glass, meeting each of their eyes. Wesley's guilt, Cora's flush, Thelma's discomfort. To family, I say, my tone dry as a prairie wind. And to honesty, when you can manage it. They raise their glasses, hesitant, and I sip, the wine cool on my tongue, knowing this moment's just the start of a reckoning they didn't see coming. The Willow Creek dining hall hums with tension, the chandelier light bouncing off crystal glasses like stars over a Simcoe County lake. I'm at the center of my family's table, the Niagara Riesling I brought half empty, its crisp tang lingering on my tongue. My navy dress feels like armor, my pearls a quiet anchor at my throat. As I sit among Wesley, Cora, Thelma, and their guests, all frozen after my toast to honesty. Reed's hand brushes mine under the table, his eyes wide with worry. But I'm calm, steady as a curling stone gliding to the button. I've called out their lie about Cora's fake illness, about the canceled anniversary dinner, and now it's time to drop the puck they didn't see coming. They think they can sideline me, treat me like a faded photo, but Edith Thornberry's got one last play, and it's a game changer. I set my glass down, the clink sharp in the silence, and pull a plain white envelope from my purse, its edges worn like my patience. Wesley. Thelma, I say, my voice soft but clear, like a CBC announcer before the late news. There's something you should know. Wesley's cufflink glints as he leans forward, his face a mix of guilt and nerves, like a kid caught skipping practice. Cora's fiddling with her napkin, Thelma's staring at her cake slice, and the other guests, strangers in sequins and suits, pretend to study their plates. I slide the envelope onto the table, its weight heavier than it looks, and let the moment stretch, like snow falling slow on Maplewood Avenue. I sold the house, I say. Simple as ordering a Tim Hortons double-double. The table goes still, like a rink after a whistle. Wesley chokes on his wine. Thelma's fork clatters, and Cora's eyes widen like she's seen a moose on the 400. What? Wesley sputters, his voice cracking. You sold it. The house on Maplewood. I nod, my smile small but firm. 3 days ago, Mr. Jenkins, my lawyer, handled it. A young couple from Barry bought it 2 kids. Big dreams. They'll fill it with life again. Thelma's hand flies to her mouth, her earrings catching the light. But, Mom, that's our family home. Dad wanted it to stay with us. I tilt my head, my tone dry as a prairie wind. Your father wanted us to be happy. Thelma, not to cling to a house you've both been eyeing like it's a winning Lotto 649 ticket. I open the envelope, pulling out papers, deeds, contracts, my handwriting neat as ever. The money from the sale, it's gone. Donated to the Blue Springs Library for a new wing, named after George. He loved books. You know, it's what he'd have wanted. Wesley's face is white as a snowbank, his mouth opening and closing like a fish out of Lake Simcoe. $500,000, he whispers. You gave it away. Almost, I say, sipping my Riesling. It's chill grounding me. The house was in good shape. And Maplewood's a hot spot for young families. The library needed it more than you do, with your Lexus and your spa weekends. Thelma flinches, her eyes shiny. But I'm not done. I pull out another document, my will, and place it beside the deeds. And I've changed my will. What's left my savings, my jewelry, George's old records, it goes to Reed. The only one who sees me as a person, not a piggy bank. Reed's head snaps up, tears in his eyes. Grandma, I don't want, I pat his hand, my voice soft as a Muskoka breeze. I know, honey, that's why it's yours. The table's silent, the cake's candles long snuffed out, wax pooling like their excuses. A real story comes back, one that fuels my fire. Last summer, Wesley asked for $3,000 to fix the roof on his cottage in Wasaga Beach. I sent it, cutting back on my meds to afford it. A month later, I saw his Facebook him and Cora on a new jet ski, laughing under the sun. Thelma was no better, suggesting I sell the house to simplify my life, her realtor friend sniffing around while I was at the doctor. I didn't call them out then. But now, with their lies exposed, I'm done playing the fool. Wesley tries to speak, his voice low, like he's pitching a clunker at his dealership. Mom, this is crazy. You can't just give everything away over one misunderstanding. I raise an eyebrow, my pearls glinting. One misunderstanding? You mean years of lies? The 23,000 you borrowed and never repaid? The times you skipped my birthday? My hospital visits? While posting about wine tours and golf games? Cora looks away, her burgundy dress stark against her pale face. Thelma's voice shakes. Mom, we were worried about you, living alone in that big house. I nod, slow, like I'm savoring a Nanaimo bar. Worried enough to talk about Sunny Hill's nursing home behind my back. Mrs. Fletcher overheard you, Thelma, with your realtor friend. Nice try. The guests shift, awkward, their forks scraping plates like skates on rough ice. Reed's girlfriend, Audrey, looks like she wants to bolt, but I touch her arm, my voice soothing. Stay? Dear, this isn't about you. I turn back to my kids, my tone calm but sharp, like a well-aimed wrist shot. You thought I was too old to notice, too weak to act. But I see it all, every missed call, every excuse, every lie. I raised you to be honest, to value family. Somewhere along the way, you forgot. I think of George, his photo on my mantle, his grin daring me to stand tall. You're the MVP, Edith, I hear him say, his voice warm as a campfire. I don't need to yell, the truth's enough. Cutting like a skate through ice. The waiter refills my glass, the Riesling's bubbles fizzing softly, and I lift it again. To George, I say, meeting their eyes, and to living for myself. Finally, they don't toast, their glasses still, but I sip, the wine crisp and bold, like the new chapter I'm writing. The hall hums around us, the river's murmur faint outside, and I feel a spark freedom, maybe, or just the weight of years lifting. My kids thought they could erase me. But I'm here, and this moment's mine. The morning sun spills through my new apartment's window, painting the walls in a soft gold that feels like a fresh start. It's been 3 months since that night at Willow Creek, where I faced my kids' lies and dropped the bomb about selling the Maplewood house and donating the money to the Blue Springs Library. I'm in my cozy one-bedroom now, just off the town's central square, the air smelling of fresh coffee and the faint cedar from a candle on my table. The place's small white walls, a secondhand sofa from a Barry thrift shop, a view of the ancient fountain sparkling in the snow. But it's mine, free of the ghosts that haunted my old bungalow. I'm 78, sipping red rose tea from a Blue Jays mug, and for the first time in years, I feel light, like a puck gliding smooth on a fresh rink. I'm getting ready for my shift at the library, where I volunteer 3 days a week, reading to kids and shelving books. The work's a balm, like a warm Tim Hortons soup on a January day, giving me purpose I hadn't realized I'd lost. My navy cardigan's soft against my skin, my pearls tucked away for special occasions, and I hum a Gordon Lightfoot tune as I grab my scarf, a gift from Reed, knitted in Griffin colors. The phone's been buzzing lately, Wesley and Thelma calling more than they have in years, their voices thick with guilt after I exposed their anniversary dinner deception. I let most go to voicemail. The machines beep, a small barrier between me and their sudden concern. They're not calling for me, they're chasing the ghost of that house money, hoping I've got some left to dangle. I step outside, the February air sharp, the square alive with dog walkers and kids in toques tossing snowballs. My apartment's a short walk from the library, past the co-op and a new Starbucks that's got Blue Springs in a tizzy. I nod to Martha Finch, my neighbor, a spry 70-something who used to teach math at the high school. She's out with her dachshund, her parka bright as a Timbits box. Edith, off to the library. She calls, waving, "Bring me back a mystery novel." I grin, my boots crunching snow. "Only if you share your shortbread recipe." Martha, her laugh carries, and I feel a warmth, like finding a friend at a lonely rink. The library's my second home now, its brick facade glowing under the winter sun. Inside, it smells of old books and lemon polish, the kind of scent that wraps you like a Hudson's Bay blanket. I'm in the children's section, reading Anne of Green Gables to a group of wide-eyed kids, their mittens strewn across the carpet. Their giggles, when I mimic Anne's dramatics, are better than any medicine. Later, I help a shy teen find a graphic novel, his hoodie smelling of vape and hope. This work makes me feel needed, not as a bank or a burden, but as Edith, the lady with stories and a knack for finding the right book. A real story comes back, one that anchors me. Last fall, before I sold the house, I was at the Blue Springs Legion for a seniors book club. I'd suggested the Stone Diaries, hoping to spark a chat about family and memory. Most folks loved it. But Mrs. Simmons Doris's mom sighed and said, "Edith, you're lucky to have kids, even if they're distant. Mine moved to Vancouver. Never call." I nodded, but inside, I ached. My kids were close geographically, at least, but their absence was just as loud. I went home, stared at George's photo, and realized I'd been waiting for them to need me. That night, I started planning the house sale, not out of spite, but to live for myself. That choice led me here, to this apartment, this library, this life. My phone buzzes as I shelve picture books, Wesley's name flashing. I let it go, the vibration soft against my pocket. He's left 3 voicemails this week, all variations of Mom. "Let's talk. We miss you." Thelma's been texting. 2, offering to help decorate my place, her words as careful as a florist arranging roses. I'm not ready to trust them, not after years of lies about money, about visits, about that canceled dinner. I think of George, his grin in that Wasaga Beach photo, daring me to stand firm. "Edith," he'd say, tossing a log on the fire, "you're tougher than a Manitoba blizzard. Don't let him skate by." I smile, shelving a worn copy of the hockey sweater, and feel a spark freedom, maybe, or just pride in my new path. I head home for lunch, the square bustling with shoppers clutching reusable bags from the co-op. My apartment's warm, the radiator humming like a lullaby, and I make a sandwich rye bread, smoked meat, a dollop of mustard, like George used to love. I sit by the window, watching kids skate on the rink across the street, their shouts muffled by snow. Reed's coming by tomorrow, promising to bring Audrey and a new board game, some craft brewery-themed thing he's obsessed with. He's the only one I don't doubt. His visit's free of agendas, just like George's hugs. But Wesley and Thelma, their sudden attention feels like a sales pitch. And I'm not buying. I think of the library's new wing, set to open tomorrow, named for George. My donation, $500,000 from the house sale, made it possible, and the thought warms me like a campfire. It's not just about books. It's about giving kids a place to dream, like George did. I'm not here to punish my kids, but to show them I'm more than their inheritance. I finish my sandwich, the mustard's tang sharp, and glance at George's photo on the shelf, his eyes crinkling. You'd be proud. Old man, I whisper, my breath fogging the glass. The phone buzzes again, Wesley. Persistent as a mosquito, I let it ring, the sound fading into the radiator's hum, and feel a quiet strength. I'm Edith Thornberry, living for myself, and this new chapter's just beginning, as bright as a blue spring sunrise. The afternoon sun bathes Blue Springs Central Square in a golden haze, the kind of February light that makes the snow sparkle like spilled sugar. I'm standing outside the library, my navy dress with silver threads catching the glow, my scarf Reed's gift, griffin colors soft against my neck. The new George Thornberry wing, funded by my donation from the Maplewood house sale, gleams beside the old brick building, its glass walls reflecting kids in toques chasing each other across the rink. The air smells of pine and hot chocolate from a vendor's cart, and the crowd's buzzing locals, library staff, even the mayor in a suit as stiff as a CN Tower postcard. Today's the opening, a tribute to George, and my heart's full, like a Tim Hortons cup brimming with warmth. But there's a shadow. Two Wesley and Cora are here, their presence as awkward as a rookie on fresh ice, and I'm bracing for what they'll say after my Willow Creek showdown. The square's alive, garlands of cedar and twinkle lights strung between lampposts, a stage set up with a golden plaque still veiled in cloth. I spot Reed near the entrance, his suit sharp but his tie crooked, chatting with Audrey, her red hair bright against her parka. He waves, grinning like George used to, and I feel a rush of pride. My donation $500,000 built this wing, a place for kids to find stories, like George did reading The Hockey Sweater to our kids. But Wesley's here, too, lingering by the hot chocolate cart with Cora, their faces tense, like they're waiting for a penalty call. Thelma's absent, probably swamped at her flower shop, her usual excuse. I'm not surprised, but it stings, like a skate blade grazing skin. Miss Prentice, the head librarian, bustles over, her scarf flapping like a flag at a Leafs game. Edith, you're here, she exclaims, her voice warm as a Muskoka campfire. We need you at the front row, guest of honor. Of course, I nod, my pumps crunching snow, and follow her, the crowd parting like fans at a rink exit. I spot Lewis Quinlan, Willow Creek's owner, in a gray suit, his willow pin glinting. He winks, and I smile, remembering his support that night I crashed my kids' dinner, exposing their lies about excluding me. He's been dropping by the library lately, bringing Timbits and stories, and I'm starting to think he's more than just the kid who loved my pies. A real story comes back, one that grounds me. Last summer, I helped organize a library fundraiser, a book sale to fix the leaky roof. I spent weeks sorting donations, my hands dusty from old novels, hoping Wesley or Thelma might show up, even just to browse. Reed came, hauling boxes. But my kids sent texts works crazy. Mom, I raised $2,000, enough for repairs. And the community cheered, but my heart ached. Mrs. Fletcher, my neighbor, pulled me aside after, her eyes kind. Edith, you're the heart of this town. Don't wait for your kids to see it. That stuck, like a puck in the net. And it's why I'm here now, standing tall, not for my kids, but for me and George's legacy. The ceremony starts, the mayor droning about community and culture, his voice flat as a prairie. Miss Prentice speaks next, her passion for books lighting up the crowd. Thanks to Edith Thornberry's generous donation, the George Thornberry Wing will open new worlds for our children. She gestures to me, and I take the stage, my heart thumping like a drum at a powwow. The crowd's eyes are on me, neighbors, library kids, even Lewis, his smile steady as a lighthouse. Good afternoon, I say, my voice soft but clear, like a CBC bedtime story. This wing is for George, who loved books and family. He believes stories teach us to dream, to care, to connect. My hope is that every child who walks through these doors finds that magic. I glance at Wesley and Cora, now closer to the stage, their faces tight. Wesley's suit is sharp, Cora's coat designer, but their gilt's as plain as a Tim Hortons sign. I continue, my tone dry but kind. Sometimes, we get caught up chasing things: money, status, new cars, and forget what matters. Love, honesty, family. But it's never too late to remember. The crowd claps, cameras flash, and I step down, Reed hugging me, his cologne a mix of pine and youth. You nailed it, Grandma, he whispers. I pat his cheek, my scarf brushing his arm, and feel a spark pride, not just for the wing, but for standing my ground. Wesley approaches, Cora trailing, their steps hesitant like they're skating on thin ice. Mom, that was impressive, Wesley says, shuffling, his eyes avoiding mine. Dad would have loved it. I nod, my smile small. He would have, especially seeing Reed here, helping out. George valued family loyalty. Wesley flinches, catching the jab, and Cora mumbles about fixing things. I sip hot chocolate from a paper cup, its warmth grounding me, and say, "Trust takes time." Wes, you don't rebuild it with one visit. Lewis joins us, his presence a comfort. Like a campfire's glow. Edith, the kids want you for a reading session, he says, nodding toward the new wing. I excuse myself, leaving Wesley and Cora in the crowd, their words fading like snowflakes. Inside, the wing smells of fresh paint and books, its shelves gleaming under soft lights. I read to a group of kids, their laughter like music, and feel alive, needed. The plaque George Thornberry wing shines above, and I think of George, his grin daring me to keep going. You're living, Edith, I hear him say, his voice warm as a Muskoka sunset. The day winds down, the crowd thinning, and I stand by the rink, watching kids skate, their blades hissing. Wesley's still here, lingering, but I'm not ready for his apologies, not yet. I'm Edith Thornberry, 78, building a life that's mine. And this wing, this moment, is proof I'm more than a mother left behind. The evening's settling over Blue Springs like a soft blanket, the kind of February dusk where the snow glows under streetlights and the air smells of cedar smoke from someone's fireplace. I'm back in my apartment, the new wing's opening still warm in my chest, its golden plaque George Thornberry wing etched in my mind like a skate's mark on ice. The living room's cozy, lit by a thrift store lamp, the air carrying the faint vanilla of a candle I lit to chase away the winter chill. My navy dress hangs in the closet, swapped for a flannel nightgown, soft as a Muskoka breeze. And I'm sipping chamomile tea, the mug's heat easing my knuckles. The phone's quiet tonight, no buzzing from Wesley's guilty voicemails. But I'm expecting a visitor, Thelma, who showed up late at the library ceremony, bouquet in hand, her face softer than I've seen in years. I'm ready to hear her out, but trusts a rink that takes time to freeze solid. The doorbell chimes, gentle as a Tim Hortons bell, and I open it to find Thelma, her coat dusted with snow, holding a bouquet of lilies and daisies, hand-arranged, not store-bought, her eyes, lined with fatigue, meet mine. And there's a flicker of the little girl who once begged for bedtime stories. Mom, she says, her voice shaky, like she's stepping onto thin ice. Can I come in? I didn't want to miss your big day. I nod, stepping aside, the floor creaking under my slippers. Of course, dear. Tea, she nods. And I lead her to the small table by the window, the square's rink glowing outside, kids' laughter faint through the glass. The apartment's a surprise to her. I can tell bright walls, a new sofa, photos of Reed and Audrey picnicking at Wasaga Beach. It's nice, Thelma says, her fingers tracing the table's edge, her bouquet filling the room with a floral hum. I pour tea red rose, strong like George liked, and sit, the chair's cushion soft under me. You made it to the ceremony, I say, my tone light but pointed, like a well-aimed curling stone. Thought you had a rush order, she flushes, her smartwatch glinting. I did, but I finished early. I wanted to be there. Mom, for you. Her words are careful, like she's arranging roses. And I wait, sipping tea, its floral warmth grounding me. She takes a breath, her voice low, like a CBC bedtime story. I owe you an apology. For the dinner, for everything. We messed up. Wes and I don't know when we drifted so far. I nod, my pearls tucked away but their weight still with me. Drift happens, Thelma. But lying, excluding me, that's a choice. Her eyes glisten, and she twists her cup, the steam curling like a question. I didn't mean to hurt you. The shop, the kids, life it got in the way. I forgot you're not just mom, but you. I lean back, the radiators hum soft, and feel a pang, not anger, but grief for the years we lost. A real story comes back, one that softens the edges. Last spring, I found an old letter Thelma wrote me at 10, tucked in a book Anne of Green Gables. Dear Mommy. It read, "You're my best friend forever." She'd drawn hearts and flowers, her handwriting wobbly. I cried, remembering the girl who'd cling to me during thunderstorms. That day, I called her, hoping to share it. But she was swamped, her voice distant. I kept the letter, a reminder of who we were. And now, seeing her here, I wonder if that girl's still in there, trying to find her way back. I don't show her the letter, not yet, but its memory holds me steady. I want to fix this, Thelma says, her voice cracking. Not just visits, but us. I know trust takes time, but I'm trying. I nod, my smile small but real. Trying's a start. Dear, day by day, like building a snow fort. We talk, the first real talk in years about her shop, her kids, the library wing. It's not perfect, but it's a crack in the ice, letting light through. When she leaves, promising to visit Sunday, I stand at the window, the bouquet's scent lingering, the rink's lights blurring in the snow. I think of George, his photo on my shelf, his grin warm as a campfire. You'd like this, George, I whisper. A step? At least. I'm Edith Thornberry, 78, living for myself, not waiting for my kids to remember me. The library wing. Reed's hugs. Lewis's coffee dates. They're my new rink. Where I'm skating free. Thelma's trying, and maybe Wesley will, too, but I'm not holding my breath. I'm building a life, bright as a blue spring sunrise, and it's enough. The night's grown softer now, the snow falling slow, like a whisper over blue springs, blanketing the world in quiet. My apartment's warm, the candles glow fading, its vanilla scent mingling with the memory of Thelma's lilies. I'm in my armchair, the flannel nightgown soft as a lullaby, the tea cold but comforting in my hands. The George Thornberry wing stands proud, a legacy of love, not just for my husband, but for the kids who'll find stories there, who'll dream beyond these snowy streets. Wesley and Thelma hurt me. Their lies about that Willow Creek dinner, a wound that still aches. But I'm not that wound. I sold the house, gave the money to the library, and moved here, to a life that's mine, bright, small, alive with purpose. Reed's my anchor, his visits like sunlight. And Lewis, with his gallant smiles, hints at new chapters I never expected. Thelma's trying, her words tonight a fragile bridge, but trusts a slow build, like a rink freezing overnight. I'm 78, not waiting anymore, but skating forward, my heart steady as a drum, my story unfolding like the dawn. Sleep well, friends, and dream of your own light. Good night.